Okay.
Do it.
We are going to start, hold on. We're going to start with an artist that I recently got kind of really familiarized with. As I have mentioned, I've taken a lot of the year off of painting, which is not saying that I'm not painting. What that means is that I'm not producing entire bodies of work, which is something that I'm a very prolific artist, maybe not as prolific as Leah, but I'm a prolific artist, and I'm just kind of stepping back and allowing myself to kind of fall into weird side projects. I'm working on these weird panels that are speakers right now, and it's working with the video installation. So the panels will have sound, they'll have a painting on them, and they'll have video projected on them, working on some VR stuff. And recently I was introduced to the artist Eva Hesse, mainly because Audrey purchased a very large book by Eva Hesse. And I found her story to be very interesting. The idea that she died so young. She was 34 years old. She worked with a lot of toxic chemicals, and they think that it gave her cancer, brain cancer specifically. But the reason that she comes into play with this week's class is that we're going to be working on the concept of doodling, because we don't work online enough in this class. We spend a lot of time on alternative ways of creating art and color. So we're going to do some line work today specifically. I've talked a lot about Agnes Martin, who obviously, as everybody knows, I love. So we're going to watch this video about Eva. She's actually a sculptor, and her work is really beautiful, but it's her drawings that we're going to look at after this, and talk a little bit about that kind of concept. And then I've got some fun exercises.
We're in Paris at the Pompidou Center, looking at the last sculpture that Eva Hesse produced. It's called Seven Poles and was made in 1970.
Even in this part of the museum that's filled with modern sculpture, much of it very powerful, this sculpture is arresting.
There are 7 forms that hang from wires suspended from above. They're made out of wrapped metal that is haphazardly twisted and forms of interior skeleton. Around that is fiberglass and a resin, but the surface is transparent in places, translucent in others, and in some places opaque.
I think the fact that the forms face one another, and I say face carefully because the bottom parts of what feel like limbs are parallel to the floor and move toward one another. And so there's a strange feeling of, because these are vertical forms, something semi-human. And when you walk up to them, you see that they are reflective. They shine in places and glisten and have a feeling of being sticky or even liquidy.
And the surface is completely uneven. The metal wire juts out in places, and the skin-like wrapping sometimes conforms to the protrusions of the metal, but sometimes the metal pokes out. It all feels very organic.
Well, they're like intestines or worms,
They're
or
very
the jagged
wormy
edges
to
of
me.
the spine of an animal. And I think the fact that they bend where they touch the floor gives us a sense of them being like the joints of the human body.
Except that maybe these are not elbows. Maybe if they were hung a little bit lower, that right angle would be at a different point.
Well, it's different for each form. Sometimes the length that's along the floor is longer, sometimes shorter. There are also different heights.
They are disgusting, and they
They are
are
disgusting.
absurd, and they're funny, and they're dangerous, and they're menacing.
It feels like we're looking at something we're not supposed to look at, that something has been peeled away.
For me, they have a deeply human quality.
Well, there are places where the fiberglass that's not been encased in the resin look almost like whiskers or hairs. And there are other places where the forms look like open wounds or scabs.
This is a kind of abstraction of the human body, of the parts of our interior selves that we're not
Can you imagine
comfortable
this
with.
guy works
And
on
it's an
his art
extraordinary
voice?
thing if we think about the history of art, where the human body was idealized, where it was perfected. And here she's gone in the opposite direction. What is inside us that is most revolting, that is most forbidden, that is most taboo?
Most abject, most absurd. And it's impossible not to see this in the context of the post-war period, of the Holocaust, of mass genocide. where the most horrible aspects of our
Right there.
humanity were revealed.
And sadly, the artist had direct experience with this. She was born in northern Germany, and her parents were able to get her out when she was 3 years old, but only her and her older sister. But both young children were sent to Holland. But the grandparents and all of the extended family were killed in the Holocaust, were killed in the death camps. And her mother committed suicide on finding out that her parents had died at the hands of the Nazis.
So the trauma of being separated from one's parents at just 3 years old, and then this later suicide of her mother, although her father seems to have been a very strong and protective figure, all of those experiences had to inform the work that she did later. And it took her a while to find her voice. This was a moment in the art world where pop art was ascendant, where minimalism was also prominent.
And this shares minimalist aspects, the repetition of the forms.
Right, that might remind us of the work of Donald Judd. But there we have
I love
forms that are
Donald Judd.
fabricated.
And these are clearly handmade. She's brilliantly retrieving the hand of the artist in our culture of technology, in our culture of mass production. But she's using materials of the 20th century. She's using fiberglass. She's using synthetic resins. And the result is, for me, something that is deeply organic, but also very much of our moment.
I think there's also something particularly brutal about the way that the forms hang from these metal hooks.
Torture, really. It's clear that these forms could not have hooked themselves up. There was some exterior force that did that. And despite that, they seem to be moving to a kind of community. Hesse didn't specify the specific relation of one form to another. And so these can be displayed different ways. And in fact, there's even a suggestion, since some of them have hooks on the opposite side, that some of them could be hung the other way.
It's a powerful work by an artist who died so young.
There's this amazing rejection of the perfection of the idealism of minimalism.
Think about the grids of Carl Andre, the alignment of forms. This is about not alignment, about forms that are broken and jagged and misaligned.
And wounded.
These are fabulously powerful forms that attract and repel us.
And that changed the trajectory of sculpture for the rest of the 20th century.
So, hold on. Huh. I was like, what is that terrible music? Okay. So, hold on one second. So we're going to do this. So one of the things that I found very interesting about Eva Hesse is that people talked a lot about her creative practice. She was really prolific. She believed very much in working 8 to 5 consistently. And she spent time co-working with lots of different people. But her drawings, which are the things that obviously spawn some of these sculptures, are very interesting. She has hundreds and hundreds of these kind of doodles where she barely introduces color. They're very abstract. They're very much about form and balance in a way that can be hard for the brain to conceptualize. If it doesn't represent something that we know. And we just bought a book that has a lot of these in them. You can see when you start looking at them, I don't want to save it. You can see the way, it wants me to save it. You can see the way that it clearly has affected her sculptures, right? These kinds of figures that they were just discussing. One of the things that's particularly special about Eva's work is obviously her relationship with trauma. And then they do feel that it was bookended, obviously, in the way in which she died so very young. And she also had a divorce in there that they didn't talk about in that was pretty traumatic. So today we're going to work on some exercises specifically related to lines. I'm not very good at the concept of doodling. This idea that just things come out. So we're going to work on an exercise, a line composition exercise first. And it's going to be okay if you don't have all the tools for this one. I'll show you what I have, and then we'll talk a little bit about it, and then we'll move on to other ones. I have just regular drawing exercises. So this is an adhesive tape exercise. Since a lot of people are watching these at home, they can go out and get different types of tape. I have 3 different colors of adhesive tape. You're going to want some tapes. I have this thick blue, this green, and this white masking. And then you're going to want some basic drawing materials, charcoal, ink, or whatever you have. And then I'm going to use plain paper. Nothing's really exciting or sacred here. I do have a ruler because we are studying line. We're going to want to make sure that we have the ability to make lines, right? So the idea here, there are no rules here. There's no limits. Your compositions can expand however you want them to expand. The idea is to use your tapes and experiment with creating compositions based only on line. Think more like the Agnes Martin. How can you make something that still has balance and has compositional notes only using tape? I am lucky because I have tape that comes in multiple colors. So it's a little easier to create compositions when you can start with multiple colors. We're going to work like this for a little bit, and then we have some doodling that will go along with it. But I like to start in kind of a linear concept before we get into like just randomly doodling. You know, we haven't spent a lot of time with line here. Line can be very impactful. Obviously, people love striped things, right? And they love, love to experiment. The idea of using painting tapes allows you to rip your tape and kind of change the width of your line. I thought that I had brought my really thin tape, but I did not. I left it at home, and that's fine. One of the things that I often get stuck in when I'm working on line exercises, we want to still be cognizant of some, of compositional balance, making sure that you're working, that you're intentional about what you're doing. You're not just putting things down. And the other thing that I always forget is I tend to go up and down and not enough side to side. With tape, you have the ability to, oh, look, I brought a little tiny blue tape. What a joy. Look how tiny this is. Okay, so I've started with obviously kind of heavy loading the one side of my composition with this big fat blue tape. I did put white tape down here. You can't see it. The intention is that I can feel the texture of it because this is a texture exercise as well. I do tend to, as we have talked a lot about in the past, I tend to think in threes. I don't think that compositions always look good if you have even number of things. I think odd numbers just tend to look a little bit better. And something that I'm trying to be conscious about in this composition is, what is the height of these various pieces that I'm working on right now? How are they creating interest? It's just tape, which is supposed to be this really easy object for you to get. But, there is a lot that can be done with tape. Obviously, some of us paint with it quite a bit. This is the cutest, tiniest little tape, you guys. Oh my gosh, look at us. This is the size of my other tape, but it's way cuter because it's tiny and blue, which goes with everything else I'm doing. Anyway. Oh, wow, it's a weird material. Let me get some scissors. Something that I'm thinking about a lot right now in my own work is, is about the creative practice. I think that that's why the book about Hesse stuck out to me so much, is because it is interesting to hear how other people's creative practice looks. We can't make good decisions unless we make a lot of really bad ones, is kind of an opinion I have. And I don't mean that about real life. That too, probably, let's be real. So this is like one of the exercises I'm kind of working in right now, is how can I still make something that has visual interest and is beautiful, only using a material that can't be molded as easily. Remember, you are allowed to use pencils and things like that if you would like to add to your linear work. Look how cute this little tape ended up being.
It's adorable.
Damn. It's exactly what I needed. And Audrey already had it. How nice. That is one of the things about sharing with another artist.
Mastermind.
Yeah. We have been getting the furniture for the coffee shop really figured out. And so we've been in looking at a lot of modern furniture, like, you know, looking at specific styles of furniture. And I can see that it's coming out even in my drawings and stuff, because I find myself creating in those lines and those colorways from those time periods. Obviously, these are the colors of our gallery right now.
The ultimate colors of your gallery in a way.
Yeah.
And I know they switch off depending on which artist you're using, but
Yeah.
So
Well,
this isn't that we're creating negative space by taping. The tape is the medium.
the tape is the medium.
Okay.
Yeah. And, you know, don't forget, like when you're ready to add other lines, don't forget to bring in, you know, pens and pencils and things like that. This is one of those things that you want to be careful not to go overboard on. And what I mean by that is, this is a beautiful composition that I have here for what we're doing. It's interesting. I bet if we put a quick little frame on it, people would think it was really cool. And adding more to it is probably going to be more of a problem than just starting a new composition. I am going to add a 7th one of these blue things because I do not like the 6th thing. Also, it's a little unnerving in a good way, the kind of uneven edges that I chose here. Imperfection is a hard thing, but the seeking out perfection often can just create no results. You just get lost and stuck and frozen in a moment, not moving past it. I think on my next one, although I really do love this composition, very strange for tape. I think on this one, I'm going to start by laying out a square for myself, boxing it in a little bit, because I think that I like to work in smaller compositions, right? So we're gonna tape off. So I guess the border, I mean, isn't part of it, but will be part of it. We're gonna find out, huh? One of the things I really love about Agnes Martin is, you know, her work is so perfect. She uses chalk lines and stuff like that. It's very mathematic too. She usually has very precise calculations as well for the different designs that she's creating. And like Eva, you know, just very committed to her creative practice in a way that, you know, not a lot of people always are. We're just going to use this tiny little one that I started before, that I cut before, because I think it's good base. Oh, shoot. And dog hair becomes part of mine.
Oh, cat hair is part of mine, definitely.
Oh yeah, it's just, I mean, it is a line. I mean,
Now, can we use other shapes?
the idea is to stick with lines, and we're going to do lots of doodling with other shapes here. Lines can be really intimidating and hard to work in. They're very much a perfectionist thing. So let's try to stick with lines for a little bit. It's okay if it feels hard. I'm gonna, so some things about line work that make it more successful in abstract work is alternating, you know, widths and thicknesses. There's a lot to be said by the delicacy of a line. This is very interesting because you guys can't really see this, but the green tape kind of shows through the masking tape in a way that's very interesting. It almost looks kind of landscapey. Tiny little grids. A lot of people, I mean, I think this comes into play with a lot of people who like to work on grid paper. Probably only going to do 5 or 10 more minutes just because I have a couple of other exercises I want to make sure that we get to. I should probably pull up my notes for today, huh? Okay. Yes, perfect. Okay. We're using lots of weird materials today. Lots of office supplies. Easy to get.
Staples would be happy.
Yeah, right. The Staples in Astoria closed.
Really?
You wouldn't, yeah, you wouldn't think that that was a business that closed, but
That's weird.
right. Yep, now it's become something else. I don't even remember what it is now.
Especially with people working from home.
You know, access to supplies is a difficult thing out here. Part of that is just like, there's not enough locals to support kind of large companies like that, and tourists aren't going to buy staples while they're here.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. I guess if you're
I
working,
think I'm also,
you don't need office supplies in the same way.
it's because it's a lot of digital work, right?
Right.
I do. I love office supplies, whatever people.
I totally believe that.
I also kind of live in a world of like free office supplies now. I am surprised at the play and transparency that this tape exercise is giving me, because this masking tape that I have is very transparent. And so the other colored tapes are actually kind of showing through in some nice ways. I probably would like to get some graphite in here, and smartly I brought a sharpener for myself.
You're such a
You
show
know.
off.
What can I say? Sometimes today was probably not going to be the day that I was well put together considering the work I was doing before this, but somehow miracles happen. I'm going to play some more with the transparency of this tape. All of today's exercises are really about play. Something about Eva's work is that, you know, a big part of her practice was play. Serious play, meaning play with intention, development and things like that, but useful and beneficial for the artistic practice. I always imagined or wanted to be somebody that liked drawing, and I don't. I own lots of drawing books. I own lots of drawing materials. And I'm really working on drawing right now because I know that it will improve my work, but it's just not something that I find interest. Part of some of these exercises.
Get you. Oh my God, I feel you so hard. You're a
I
painter.
I know, and I want to be interested. I'm a documenter though. So I always fancy myself interested in like urban sketching. And I think like anything, it's probably a practice that you have to teach yourself really.
I feel
We
like
have to teach you.
I feel like for me, it didn't really click until I saw how it helped my painting. Then I was able to dive in.
You know, a lot of it just doesn't have application, but
Right.
part of it is also though, like just wanting to document in general, you know.
I got you. No, I totally get it. I just understand the feeling, and I understand the sort of resistance and why it's not
It's
kind of
tedious work.
boring, you know, and not so fun as other things, because it just, if you want to talk about documenting, I mean, paint, particularly in an abstract way, it seems to me paint can just say so much with one stroke, you know?
Yeah, I do know. It
Not
is
trying to talk you out of it. I'm just saying, I
no,
feel you.
no. And you know, like anything, like we don't. Every job, career, and focus has parts of it that you just don't feel like you want to do.
Exactly.
And I understand that drawing is probably one of those things for me. So it's getting about 4 o'clock, so I want to move on to some of our other stuff. I do really like this composition. I added a little bit of graphite here. I'm going to take pictures of it for WhatsApp for those who aren't here and want to check in later.
I sent you what mine were so far.
I added a little frame. Would help if I could find
Yeah,
WhatsApp.
Dean, there you go.
I don't have all the fancy colored tapes like
But
Carissa.
you have a cool mauve one there. I like it. You got some stuff. You got stuff.
Okay, whoa, here we go. Oh, I do like yours, Jean. You have purple tape, that's cute.
It's supposed to be painter's tape, but it always rips my watercolors.
It is, and it's supposed to be the more delicate painter's tape.
Yeah.
But it is one of those things where there is a way to do it. I don't know, I wouldn't call it successful, but I would say there is a way to do it.
Well, I pull away from the painting, but sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Right, it's a torturous process, to be really honest with you. I really like your second one. I like the way that you balanced out with the white masking tape, just the one little stripe in the middle, and that little half stripe of white is actually one of your most successful compositions you've done.
Oh.
It's just really well balanced and interesting. So congratulations, huh? On being awesome.
I love it when that happens.
I knew you were awesome, but I really know you're awesome now. Hold on one second. I gotta go up here. So I'll take a picture of mine, since that's what I actually have my phone out in my hand for, right? This one is definitely much more Agnes Martin. And then here is that first one, which really.
Oh yeah, super fun.
Sorry, my phone is just being really dumb. Always technology and me, apparently we're just not friends. Okay.
Smartphones weren't necessarily well named.
They were meant for smart people. So this is a really fun exercise. I actually am surprised by the textural issues or the textural experiences that you get from it. Adding the graphite on that first one that I put on there was a really interesting experience. So we're going to work with some of our favorite mark making tools and one very simple item, Post-it notes. So
I love this so much.
Today is all about doodling and weird doodling exercises. You know, like I said, you know, I'm trying to work on this like somewhat distaste I have for drawing. I do know that my more successful paintings are ones that kind of have whimsical, weird little lines and things like that. And so I'm working on some exercises to get more comfortable and excited by it. So I'm reading this book about doodling, and this is one of her exercises. And I have to tell you, it has me carrying around Post-it notes. So the idea is that you would use a Post-it note. If you don't have Post-it notes, tear up a piece of paper into the general size of Post-it notes. I found this pad in my office supply section that's a weird size, but so I decided to use it because it's not your standard Post-it note size. The idea here is you're going to use your favorite line making implements. Mine is this blue pen. It's the Papermate thin pen. Blue isn't always my favorite color. I love it in black too. It's just this particular style of pen. And then my favorite pencil is this weird ass Art Alternatives pencil that has graphite, but it's not a mechanical pencil in the way that it's super thin. That's actually a 2.0 millimeter piece of graphite that comes in and out. So it's a good sized piece of graphite, right? And the idea here is that we're gonna doodle. Doodling is a hard thing because you kind of need ideas to doodle. One of my favorite things to doodle right now, because what we're working on with doodling and why it has to do with abstract art is we're working on your line. There's a lot of things that can be learned from how we make lines and how we focus on lines and how we use those lines in our work to drive people's eyes through the work. So we're going to start with doodling on a very small piece of paper. One of my favorite things to draw right now, only because I own a coffee shop, which is a cup of coffee. And the idea here is not to get too wrapped up in making it look great. We're supposed to be interacting with our most childlike self here. We're not getting caught up in perfectionism. It's to use this tiny little piece of paper, doodle, and I'm gonna just say a couple of things, and then we're gonna work on to other kinds of doodles that are more abstract. But we're gonna start with representational stuff that can be a little easier to doodle. And we're going to start with coffee cup because I have one in front of me and I still have a perfect heart in my coffee right now, which means that I steamed the milk perfectly.
I have Post-its.
Post-its. Do you have them?
Uh-huh.
See? That's your next sketchbook. I have a Post-it dispenser. So half of my Post-it notes come in accordions because they have to, come out of the thing properly. This is not one of them. So, lots of things that come into play here are different types of drawing, hash marks, stippling, different ways that you can express. One of the reasons that I chose a coffee cup or coffee cups is probably I'm going to do multiple, is that coffee is a universally understood ritual. It represents a lot of different things. And right now it's very interesting the way that we're seeing how the labor organizing in Starbucks is really part of this giant movement to forward, labor organizing in the United States. I think that Starbucks' success and the success in the media is truly what spurned Amazon being able to unionize. It's an interesting thing though, because Starbucks is actually one of the few companies that cover IVF. So a lot of LGBT couples work at Starbucks to get their IVF covered.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have some friends. One of them is an acupuncturist and he has worked a second job at Starbucks for a long time so that his partner could get pregnant. Part of this doodling thing is not being too serious. I think that's the idea of the secondary objects, right? Are you that attached to what happens on a Post-it note? I mean, you can be. Part of it is also like keeping your drawings in a place because they are a visual language. And that is what this entire class is about, is developing a good visual language. I did have some world-class coffee yesterday in Portland. I always let my business partner make the decisions on what coffee stops we make, and she always finds the best of the best. Blows my mind every time. Bring in my pencil for a little bit of fun. Interestingly, one of the other exercises that this artist suggests is doodling while reading. She has a
Doodling
whole
while reading.
she has a whole thought process on the way that you free up your mind for doodling. Doodling, it's that thing we do in meetings. It's what we do when we're on the
Right.
phone with business people. So hers was to doodle while you're reading, right? Sometimes when I'm taking a coffee break, I just draw all of the coffee cups that Audrey has left. Right now it'd be a really short drawing because there's only like 6, but most of the time there's quite a few to draw. We have a guy upstairs doing a Post-it note project where he is drawing portraits on Post-it notes.
He's doing portraits?
Tiny portraits on Post-it notes. And he's actually moved on to full-size paintings. And he's actually decided to paint the canvas the color of a Post-it note because he's become so comfortable with that.
That's brilliant. I love it.
Me too. I think people are really interesting, the things that they get attached to, right? I also have some colored gel pens because I'm a guy that has colored gel pens. So I'm going to bring in some colored gel pens. Today's all about just having fun and doing weird things. Great decompression.
I thought every day was like, I thought every class was like that.
Sometimes, this class in particular.
Post-it notes. That's
You're jealous, Leah, of all the
Yeah.
weird things I bring to the table.
Yeah, I just love that idea.
It's interesting because they're they're an interesting material. Once you start on them, you're like, oh, I'm just gonna bring Post-it notes with me. As somebody who always kind of has sketching material with them, this is like one of the least space consuming.
Right. I like the idea. I was just thinking, it was making me think of this graduate students, art student show I saw. It was portraits and they were all on cardboard boxes. And
Interesting. I do like cardboard.
Yeah, they were really good. And it made me, I was like, oh yeah, shit, you can just paint on a cardboard box if that's like what you have.
Really? I mean, we had a guy, I mean, he's a local guy and he's not local, but he hangs out. He does a lot of cardboard paintings. He's also super annoying, but I always appreciated his resourcefulness. Audrey's laughing because she knows who I'm talking about.
Look at Jean's, the red. She's got hot pink. She's got bright orange Post-it notes.
It's neon orange and then it's pale, once again, pale lavender.
Holy cow, I love that combination. I ever thought.
I love it. I like that. I like the way that the bright orange shows some scale for your
right.
little
it also gives it, because it only sticks on one side, it gives shadows.
Right.
Yeah.
There's my little yellow one. We're gonna do a couple more. We're gonna do also a thing that everybody loves to do. I do love coffee cups. We're gonna do some little trees. Trees are really easy right now because clearly we're just loosening up. The idea is not to hold the pen too tightly. I have to remind myself of that quite a bit. Coming home from Portland yesterday, getting the furniture for the coffee shop, Forest Park is in all of its glory right now. And it's very interesting because all the different shapes of the trees are different colors at this time, and it's magnificent when you're going over the St. John's Bridge and you just see the kind of array of random trees.
It really, really is. You said it there.
I do miss it. I miss Forest Park a lot. In general, it was one of my favorite places to hang out and be. I love the way that like houses, trees are this like universal thing we all know, right?
Right.
nice part about doodling is you don't have to get stuck on just drawing the one thing. Draw some other things with it. Draw some weird, one of my favorite doodle shapes is this, and it actually plays out in my work a lot. I don't know why it's I think it's called the scallop or something like that. Like, I don't know why it comes out in my work so much, but I really love it. It brings a lot of activity to a painting and a drawing. It goes off the page and it controls the composition entirely. I need to, one of the few drawings, so I took my one drawing class because in art school you had to take drawing. Even though I was a sculptor, I had to take drawing. I didn't have to take 2 drawing classes like everybody else did. I had to take drawing, and I got smart and I took it during the summertime so that I could get kind of the weird alternative classes that state colleges do during the summertime. And essentially it was just like the teacher just took us outside and had us do random drawings. And the center of the U of O's campus is a pioneer cemetery. So we spent a lot of time out there drawing headstones and things like that. And I remember one particularly successful drawing was a stipple drawing of a headstone. We also walked down to the river, you know. It was, I only think we drew figures once or twice. It wasn't really a very common, you know, like a lot of drawing classes, you just spend all the time doing figure drawing. That was not us, thankfully. Oh man, Leah, your cats make some new noises, huh?
Sorry, that was actually a fox noise. Somebody playing with a fox. Isn't that funny? Playing with his face, and he was like making that.
That's adorable.
It was really cute.
Leah's watching videos on her phone.
I am, like sometimes happens. It happens sometimes.
I love it.
You know, there's a kind of tedium to painting. I always try to describe it to people and they get really upset with me. Like I said, I don't like it. And I'm like, nobody said I dislike tedium. I'm just saying there's this kind of tedium thing where I don't know, like you get bored and while you're painting, you're looking at pictures of foxes.
I mean, I think that sometimes my brain needs a redirect. Also, though, I will say that, you know, being in a digital era is distracting. And we're constantly seeking that distraction. So sometimes, even today when I was working on the website, you know, and I am, the thing about working on websites is compared to like, I don't know, other creative projects is you're really down a hole. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff, you know, like you're thinking about a lot of weird things. And I kept picking up my phone and being like, no, you're trying to distract yourself.
Right.
You know, and that's not what we're doing here.
Carista's fixing our website.
I don't know that I'm fixing it. We'll see. I mean, I like my website that I made for myself. I hope that I can find a way to like Portland Open Studios website.
I think you'll get there.
May take me a million years, but that's fine.
Well, technically, that's a whole separate job. If you remember, we were going to hire somebody to do it.
Well, my thing is, though, I'm creating the bones and I plan to hire a copywriter. Yeah. And that's where we're going to get more money.
Mm-hmm.
More bang for our buck. This is a cute little drawing that I just did just because I like trees and I like the rain.
Oh, it is really cute.
Oh, nice.
Love it.
Okay. So now we're actually going to start working on the actual mechanics of drawing. So on doodling in particular. Now you have learned to keep a Post-it notes with you wherever you go, because they're obviously perfect drawing materials. I'm going to move. This one is the idea with the Post-it notes thing is that you're supposed to be able to create galleries for yourself of these kinds of drawings, right? Like on this page, and you get to see kind of how your marks are your marks. They're specific to you. the ways that you do things. I tend to double up or triple up my lines for some reason. I kind of like them to look a little messy. My hand shakes. And you're supposed to be able to create entire galleries so that you can source inspiration from yourself. I think that it's really delightful to have the Post-it notes with me. So now we're going to work on a regular piece of paper. Still doodling. You can still do it on a lined paper if you want to do it on a lined paper. The idea here, though, is that we're going to work on doodling just using our fingers. Okay. What that means is you're going to hold the pen. Okay. And you're only going to, all of your drawing has to be done with your fingers or slight hand movements. Don't use your wrist. Don't use your arm. Okay. It's a different part. We're isolating as a way of loosening up. We're going to do some exercises where we only use our arm. So when you think about the actual act of drawing, so take a drawing implement that you think is really comfortable. I think for the smaller ones like the finger, it's a little easier with pens that have smaller nibs. When we use the full hand one, I think something a little larger is just a little bit more fun. You probably want several pieces of paper here, or, you know, you can just draw a line down the center of your paper to do this. So we're going to start with just finger and hand movements. Okay. So something, you know, that means generally it's going to be a line or some dots. You're working on just getting kind of the mechanics of doodling around. It's a little harder because we're not moving our hands too much, right? I'm not going to give you any subjects, but if you really need a subject because it's a little easier to doodle when you're thinking of something, you can draw a tree line because it's the perfect thing to draw, right?
I'm like from the wrist up, I'm holding still, right?
Still, yes. And you're only really, because we're going to work on our wrist and forearm next. So it's really just your finger movements. It's like this almost.
Yeah.
Like, and it's going to be kind of painful almost a little bit. It's really going to be easier to draw kind of in a tiny little line just because of the nature of it. It's interesting though, when you have physical restrictions on something, the ways that you find to be creative, right? I mean, I think that's the whole thing with Frida Kahlo, right? Being stuck in bed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Had to find a whole new way to paint. I was just reminded I met one of our board members for the first time in the artist section of the art section, meaning books about individual artists at Barnes and Nobles. Oh, Powell, sorry. God.
Do you recognize you?
She did not recognize me until I said her name. She wasn't really looking at me though. She had lots of people with her, and she had her kids with her. I met her kids. But it's funny because she's an art historian. So, you know, she's picking out books, and, you know, after we left, Audrey goes, wow, she was really intense because she was really excited about the section that we were in.
Right.
You know, because she's just real intense about it.
That's really cute. I can totally picture that actually.
You know, can I tell you the thing that was most surprising about it, Leah?
Tell me.
She's so tall.
Really?
I think she might be taller than me.
Oh my God. Okay, that surprises me. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
she was so tall. It was awesome. Can I tell you that drawing like this kind of makes my hand hurt?
I was going to say, this is painful.
It's a little painful. We're only going to do it for a couple minutes more, and then we're
So
going to go some more.
stiff, you know?
Yeah. I also find that it's hard to think about or focus too much on line quality, right? Like it's hard when you're kind of compromised in that way. I wonder if I used a different implement, which I've only done this with the pen. Let me try a different implement and see if it's still kind of the same discomfort, you know? I will say it's very enjoyable to just doodle. when you have restrictions and you're not trying to draw something that's supposed to be like the next whatever.
The next whatever. My God, the next whatever.
Yeah.
That's
So-
the thing that torments us all. The next whatever,
Whatever that is, right?
whatever.
I do like adding in the graphite on top of the pen marks though, because it adds another level, you know? Okay. So now I've made this weird tiny little drawing. It feels a little bit like I just drew a fairy neighborhood.
It's adorable.
If
Mine's
you,
just a bunch of squiggles.
you know, but squiggles that's what we're working on. Squiggles are going to be a lot more applicable in abstract art, although this would be really cute. So then in the next section for us, as you massage out your fingers, because my fingers need some massaging, is we're going to be using our wrist and our forearm, not our fingers to move, and not our elbow. So it's a lot of pushing up and pulling down. Our goal is to fill the page this time. So unlike our previous doodle, which kind of is in this tiny little space, right? This movement is going to be more like this. So you're going to want to prop your elbow. And the idea here is that we're learning about a whole new range of movement. Again, guess what I find very difficult? Controlling the weight of my lines, right? Which is something that I do.
No control over the weight of the line.
Right? But this one's a lot more freeing, right? And
It's not as cute though.
huh?
Not as cute though.
It's not as cute, huh? It's a little harder to be pretty awesome about it. I mean, but
Definitely awesome.
I think that's the whole point in all of this, though, is that we're not, doodling is supposed to free your mind. It's supposed to be an exercise that allows you to experience that childlike wonder. Oh man, hold on. There we are. We might not make it with the phone. Sorry, guys. We'll just do it the best we can in life, and it's just a little harder than we'd like it to be. Yeah, it's a little, I expected this one to feel better than it does.
It's ugly.
It's ugly. What is ugly?
This just looks like scribbles.
It is, but scribbles,
That's
you know what?
what it is.
I know, but
Scribbles.
like my little doodles are cute. They're cute little shapes. This is just ugly scribbles.
Well, try layering on another color of scribble marks and see if, like, in the scribbles, by adding some color, you can define the lines better.
Good decision.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like a lot of abstract art is about making decisions that are about saving a bad painting.
Right.
And, you know, adding some other dynamic marks might benefit us all. Don't worry, I just dripped all over my face. Because that's cool, because I'm cool. Also, don't be afraid to turn over your paper. I forget to, it's so funny when you think about, when you force yourself to continue with something that you're like, about. I forget to do this kind of mark. I don't know why that is, right? Really, it's just a bunch of scribble scrabble.
Actually, it's funny. I'm working on a representative thing, but it's tree with lots of different branches. And I'm very influenced by how you guys, I'm doodling it out and it looks terrible right now. Like I'll send
We're so glad we could be your muse.
But it needs to, because there's just branch shit everywhere. I mean, like, there's no way around it. There's just shit everywhere. And this is how it has to look right now. I'll send you.
You know, is that what it is, right?
Yeah, it's kind of neat, actually. I mean, here. So you can definitely in a very ridiculous space right now. It's the tree trunks.
You should send a picture to us.
Sending it over.
Yeah,
I'm,
sure. I am.
I definitely found my inner 3-year-old.
Sorry. Okay. The last one, so we just used our hand and our wrist, and the last one is supposed to be all forearm movement, which is even larger and even harder to control. This is the one that I said kind of works better if you have a bigger implement. Yeah, we're gonna have to give my phone a break. It's gotten itself hot on old Zoom. Hot Zoom. Sorry, everybody. We're just going to continue to hang out like this. And this is what it is. And I'll show you pictures as I can. So the idea here is that you want to make the biggest marks you possibly can on your page. I encourage you to experiment with lifting it, because you can lift it, and leaving how can you use that negative space? Maybe Leah needs to make big marks with her forearm.
I've got it. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing.
Make her branches more alive, or trees more alive. My poor little phone gets all hot and bothered.
Oh.
They both do it. So it must be a thing about Zoom for too long on the phone, you know?
It's true. I don't like use my phone as a thing. I buy a note. I have a notepad as my secondary, because I do think it just is like, yep.
It's too hot. Too hot. It's interesting how we start to make things into things, marks into things, right? As I'm doing this larger hand movements, I'm thinking about leaves, and I'm drawing leaves, right? Even though, like, the whole point is working to like expand your reach. Wow. I will tell you that my hand is definitely needing a little bit of love and a tenderness right now. So I thought I brought my colored pencils, but maybe I didn't. I did bring my watercolor. This next, the last exercise typically works on a roll of paper. So you would use butcher paper, or I'm going to use this rice paper here. And the idea is that, goodbye, that we're going to continue doodling. Her suggestion is taping your roll of paper and doing strips that go literally from, the top of the ground to the floor. The way that I work on this one is a little different in that your doodle moves into other doodles by being part of a piece of paper, right? Like a roll. It continues forever. And so you want to think about what direction is going to be most comfortable for you to draw, because the idea is you're going to keep drawing. You're going to work in sections like this and then just keep moving forward. There's no restrictions. We've loosened up our hands or cramped them up, really. I'm going to, I like to weigh down, which you can't see because, gosh dang it, my phone is dumb. My paper. And the idea is that you're trying to create some sort of visual story with your doodles. I like to start by kind of just starting with really big lines and then responding to the lines. We're going to do this for it's an hour. There's an hour left of doodling. However, I'm going to encourage a couple of things with this. Add some color. Don't add too much color. Don't depend on color to tell your story. Really work on trying to disassociate from replicating real things and really exploring what your own doodles can be. Oh, you know what? I did have one more and I'm so sorry. Before we got to this, I was like, I know this is not the last one. Gina's been saved. I'm just going to use the back side of my other doodle papers. So we're going to work on doodles that you use circles and lines. It's just a great way to explore new marks. So any kind of mark making tools that you like, any kind of paper that you like, and then we're going to work on it. What it reminds me of is, you know how coding is done in ones and zeros? It's kind of like that. We're going to work on creating little designs, and we'll probably do, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes of this. Then we'll go back to our full-size paper and we'll take everything we've learned from all of our doodling today onto our papers. The idea here is, what kinds of designs can you create using just circles and lines? They're just rudimentary shapes and things that we know how to do. I tend to really like to do circles in my work. I'm using a particular pencil. I'm using a graphite pencil that is water soluble. I keep thinking that Jean can see what I'm doing and she really can't see what
I'm like, whatever.
she's just making up what it is in her head, and I get it. So I'm just going to go onto WhatsApp right now. Oh man, Leah, that's a beautiful fern painting though.
It's gonna be good, and it's getting uglier and uglier right now, but on the process to getting pretty.
Here's the reality though, you know, and I mean it when I say this, like I just added the circles and lines for an example, just so that it doesn't feel like we're not getting some visuals. It's got to get ugly before it gets nice.
It does.
That's not ugly at all. It's gorgeous.
It's getting uglier. I'll send you, you'll get progress. You'll see. It's definitely going to a place.
It's going to the dark side of the moon.
It's going to the dark side of the moon. Exactly. That's exactly it. But I really struggled with, this is a lighter composition fern. And I really struggled with these background trees. Like they were very hard for me to do on the first one. So I'm playing with ideas about how to layer and make them come together a little bit, you know, come out a little bit more. I want some of these ferns to be lighter and less dense.
Oh, that's an interesting. I like the denseness of it. I think that's what people like, but
no, definitely. I mean, it'll still have density, but there'll be little flashes of lighter, like.
So you can see that my doodle is exploring how I'm going to fill this paper with a variety of circles and
very cool.
Lines, just so that you know what's happening over here in Doodly Talk land. It's nice to talk while you doodle though, because then you get detached from the outcome so much. My dog is lit up about everybody going by right now.
Ladies, I gotta jump for a minute. I'll be back.
Bye.
She's got to jump. I don't know what that means, but whoa.
Do they have to be exactly circles? Can they be ovals?
They can be ovals. Aren't ovals circles?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know the rules and the regulations around circles and ovals. I think the idea is just that introducing new types of marks into your work so that you can experiment with your line weight, really. Could Julie lay down? Oh. We don't have dog food, do we? In her belly. Something that I don't want you to forget, that I am forgetting until I'm being reminded about this exercise. It's okay for you to have the lines go through the circles. Don't forget that, Because clearly I did.
Yeah, I've already done that once.
You're on it. I do think though that a line in a circle can be translated into so many things. This is helpful, even though it's painful. I feel like I'm creating a secret code.
I know. At first I was kind of going for like creating like my own alphabet, and then I decided to do something different.
Well, I'm clearly trying to draw my own solar system, as you can see.
Oh.
I've got entire worlds that are growing
Yeah.
through things. I mean, it is
Very
what
cool.
it is, right? I also probably shouldn't forget to color in my circles, right? They can be colored in too.
Oh, you have the wackiest notions.
The wackiest notions.
Color? What is this color?
I'm gonna add just a little bit of color. One of these probably is a moon type object, right? So it would be special. I'm gonna pretend that in this world, the moon is hot red. This is where shit gets wild. Can't get lost too much in the paint though, because then I won't be drawing.
Nope.
It really does feel very space-like for not having intended to be space.
I think mine's going to turn into flowers and Easter eggs if I'm not careful.
Oh man, I mean, Easter was just yesterday.
I know. I find I'm doing all these flowery things.
We came to the shop yesterday and somebody had left us an Easter egg on our next door sign. It was really cute.
Oh, nice.
So lots of interesting alternative Easter egg hunt options for people.
Uh-huh.
You guys probably see a lot of that in New York, actually, because you don't have a lot of yards.
Right.
My mom posted photos of my niece doing an Easter egg hunt. And one of the pictures was her looking like this. And she's just doing this. And she's got her basket in her hand.
Concentrating on.
I commented on it and I said, it looks to me like she's trying to figure out where all the Easter eggs are via telepathy.
Yeah, like she's psychically sensing.
My mom said she was. And then you look at the photos, and because of the age of my niece, it's not like Easter eggs are really hidden. They're like just laying in the grass.
Right, right.
So then she needs to telepathically find the Easter eggs that are in plain sight. Like,
That is hysterical.
she's a sassy little kid. Cracks me up. My dog's giving me 4:45 face. 4:45 face is,
I'm hungry, mommy.
and she's just got this face like she's just so sassy looking, you know?
Yeah, it's like you do know what time it is, right?
And she just looks at you like, I'm like, okay, turd. Well, here's my alternate world. The
Oh, I like it.
map to my new solar system when Americans
Have
ruin
to
the,
leave the earth because they've destroyed it.
yep, that we're gonna have to go out into the wild world in this way and find something new. Okay, so now back to this. You already got your thing of paper. The idea here is that you're gonna start creating one long drawing. One long doodle to be exact. So you can use a variety of the methods that we have learned to doodle to your heart's content. Go right to left though.
Mhm.
So, no, left to right, sorry. Clearly I don't know my left from my right. And that's what we're gonna do for the last 45 minutes. For me, it's gonna be a test on attention span. Because that's what happens with doodling for me, is that I get kind of bored with it. But
Right.
it's interesting when you think about doodling in the concept of like one never ending drawing, you know, there's always more to be done. Because I'm drawing on rice paper, it's definitely going to have to be a lot more graphite. And I am going to start by laying down some random color swatches, just because I think it might be a little more fun for me and keep me engaged more. So I'm going to add some watercolor, which I do conveniently have located in front of me. Conveniently, but I'm not going to do like large amounts. Like I'm doing little tiny splots. So as I doodle, I'll interact with the watercolor a little bit. And I think I'm going to get out some fat graphite, just for a little line variance. If I can find it, I probably can't find it. I guess it just comes down to me and my Ticonderoga. Let's see if I can develop a new world, huh? More solar systems. Oh, I should probably take a picture of my previous solar system because it's really awesome and put it on WhatsApp. Oh, I like yours. It does kind of look like a little alphabet. It's definitely like top secret language-y.
Yeah. Well, mine can be the language that we speak on your solar system.
Right? I like it. You're a natural doodler, I think. I'm not. Hence the reason we're working here to work on our prominent in doodling. I am having to stand up right now because my watch is telling me to.
Okay.
You know, general health reasons. Okay, well, now we're gonna work back on our little piece of paper here. I do have pastels too. Oh, I know where my things are. In this conveniently organized makeup container. I was like, where's my stuff gone? Cool. Now we have lots of mark making utensils. I wasn't a kid that started art very early, so I don't have childhood doodles like everybody else does.
Mostly, you know, stars and arrows on the corners of the paper kind of thing. I didn't really do a lot.
Yeah, I was a reader, you know,
Mhm.
and so I started reading very young, and that was definitely where I spent the priority of my time. I didn't, yeah, I don't have a life of fantastic artwork. I'm starting big, I realize, trying to,
Oh, nice.
I will say though, it does spark my ideas for like other drawings on my actual paintings. Taking heed from my other marks, my other short, my little stick it note marks, because I feel like I had a little bit of freedom there. Some better ideas. I decided to frame in part of my drawing. so that it just felt like it was a little more normal. I don't know why I suddenly feel the need for frames so much.
You're just in a mood where you need to control it, box it in.
And it's not surprising. I guess this feels a little bit like the opposite of a coloring book. Reading a coloring book.
Well, I'm doing like a weird secret garden. With weird
Yeah.
trees.
Well, I'm currently in the process of doing rain. And I've got a couple of weird plants on here. So I'm clearly thinking a lot about spring. So I put these weird color things on here and I'm finding that I almost kind of avoid them. Isn't that interesting? Still got a cramped up hand. Let me tell you.
I've got a cat who wants all the attention. Sorry, Inkling, I'm doing something else.
My dog is definitely like got her whole face dripping off of the couch and she's looking at me like this.
She totally has that look too.
Mm-hmm. She's been a turd.
Sorry, Krista, I realized I didn't have any money in my bank account, so I would not be able to pay you after this class was over. So I went and dropped some in, and now we're going for it.
You're so funny.
I know, I'm like, shit.
Spent all your money in New York City.
I kind of did, but whatever.
A lot of fun.
By the way, my company doesn't match one to one. It matches 3 to 1. So the bracelets you bought,
Yeah,
instead of donating 20, you donated
60.
60
excellent,
to Doctors Without Borders.
excellent. I'm so pleased.
We work with a platform that donates 3 to 1 as well, and it's amazing. I've started to add color to mine in case.
Oh, oh, it's adorable.
Unroll a bit.
Love it.
It's rice paper, so it's extremely difficult.
I don't know what kind of paper this is.
I should have used a butcher paper roll, but you know.
Maybe that's what this is. Yeah, this is the kind of thing like they use in restaurants on tables.
Yep, that's butcher paper. I like to make it hard, you know. Why not? I feel like I'm building a little bit of a tropical rainforest here, so I got to add myself a little tropical rainforest hut.
It's funny how you layer and then refine and then layer and then refine and then layer. You get rid of things, you pull them back.
That's the whole process, right?
Right? I think that's what I love about painting the most. It's like, however many layers I've got here, it's just going to make whatever I have look better in the end.
I did, though, I realized not bring the pencil sharpener that actually sharpens the size pencil that I've been using. So we're gonna have to change that. I figure it's a little tropical, some little tropical rain, some waves. Now I'm working on tropical, like a little hut. It's a weird looking hut, I know. That's fine. It's gonna be fabulous.
No doubt.
Makes you want to doodle, doesn't it? Audrey's a better doodler than
Kind of
me.
am. I'm kind of letting myself like doodle away. I mean, I'm working from a source, so I guess I'm not really doodling, but I'm doodling. Very doodly with my markings.
Audrey just said, I'm doodling in my own way over here. So you're doodling in your own way.
Yeah. What is Audrey doing?
Audrey is working with colored porcelain right now,
Oh,
making a series of cute, weirdly colored cups. They're really like very interesting.
Have you guys watched The Great British Throwdown?
Audrey definitely has, yeah.
I just started it. It's so good.
Audrey actually, the last time Georgie's did their clay day, Audrey competed. It was 2019, and she won.
Oh, wow.
Believe that.
What, you were making the like largest single object out of a piece of clay? Is that what it was? Like,
What'd you make?
I think you, yeah, you got 5 pounds. You got 5 pounds of clay. You had to make the tallest object in a period of time. And I remember watching the video. It was during Open Studios, Leah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool.
Here's my little tropical rainforest. I got some raining, and I'm working on my little hut right here. It's clearly a
Nice.
little hut. It's gonna be
I
cute.
love it.
I need some
I
flowers.
think you were inspired by Leah's fern.
I don't
Yeah,
know. That
probably.
looks like pure Carista to me. Not to be imitated.
I think I need some flowers though, that's for sure. I've been talking a lot about coffee in other places lately. Talking about Madagascar a lot, I think. Oh man, you guys, let me see if I can get a picture of this so you can see how ridiculous it is. I probably can't. Oh, she stopped. My dog was just being so cute. But she saw me pull out the camera for you guys.
Julie, do you not know that it's your job to be cute on camera for mommy?
I know.
That's your
Anytime,
job, girl.
anytime cute photos of Patchouli. Oh my gosh. So the other night, she trashed our house.
Oh my God. Wow.
She got into the trash in the kitchen and got it everywhere.
Patchouli.
Yeah. And we took photos of it, and we woke her up when we came home. So the trash was everywhere, and she's like sleeping on the couch with like her tongue sticking out. Huh?
Little brat.
Yeah, with an empty sour cream container that she ate the entire container of sour cream.
Oh my God.
Yeah, old sour cream. Audrey had to clean up after her, and she's just looking at me like this.
I'm so proud of myself, mommy.
Stupidest. I'll send you the
I
picture.
can eat the sour cream too, mommy.
I swear she has fingers, like opens things up. I like your doodles, Jean. Hold on, I'll show you. This is her. As I'm like talking to her about the mess that she made, which happens to look like this.
Nice. She's so flippin' cute.
That's what I came home to. And that's
Oh, Patchouli. But look at her face.
right.
Ridiculous.
Ridiculous. Turd.
It is very churdy.
One of the nice
Oh
things.
my God, that face is.
I know, isn't that a fantastic? I mean, but she's just like, I'm just.
Oh, yeah.
obsessed.
That mess is definitely a dog made that mess.
I do like some pieces of this, I'm realizing. And I do know that that's kind of the last idea, is that when you finished a long drawing like this, you can cut it up into pieces.
Mhm.
And when I look to take pictures of certain parts of it, I think that I like individual pieces, maybe not the whole thing together, right? I used to do a lot of drawing when I worked at a bank. You know, you get bored.
Mhm.
I have yet to recoup the drawing skills I lost.
Maybe you should go back and work at the bank again.
No, thank you.
Kidding.
No, she's working for us now. Hell no.
My dance card is full, they would say.
Leah's like, you can take Christy out of my cold, dead hands.
Yeah, do not even think about it. Yeah, people are like, is Open Studio happening this year? Because you're not losing your mind. And I'm like,
Yeah,
that's
the
right.
whole point.
That's right.
It is. It's going to be wonderful.
It is going to be wonderful. Really looking forward to it.
Make all the money, Leah.
I'll do it. All the money, all the money,
All the money.
all the money.
This actually kind of frames in, strangely, a weird experience. My whole experience going to Madagascar, I realized. I just was like doodling that away. Except for I definitely painted the hut I was staying
When did you go to Madagascar?
in 2010. It's been a long time.
That's a place I've always wanted to go. That and Zanzibar.
I'm afraid that you
You
may
just
have
like the
lost
names.
your chance. It's not a very safe place right now.
No.
They've got like crazy armed robberies and stuff of tourists. And of course, some of the worst experience with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like I did have a student in the Shetlands. It seemed like if you were in an island, it all just like everybody she said everybody got COVID at the same time. And on the Shetland Islands because everybody there's not that many people, they all hang out together.
The problem with Madagascar is they weren't reporting. So I cut my drawing off.
Right.
They weren't reporting cases for a really long time. And French people didn't stop coming there once they got COVID. So,
Nice.
you know, the kindness. Okay, so I'm going to try a different type of paper. We do have this that feels like it might be more fun to draw on, and I can draw with a pen. It is a very large piece of paper though. I can't imagine people who just do this all the time. I mean, there are lots of people, you know?
Right. You know who's an artist like that? Callie is an artist like that.
Man, or Jennifer Mercedes.
Yes. He could just do that all day.
Did I tell you he contacted me?
Finally.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, he was very obsessed with getting his stall at the Portland Saturday Market together. And then I think he didn't make that much money his first visit, his first time. So
Yeah.
he was, oh shit. Get my leg. You know, which is, I mean, I'm sure that's what it's like.
It takes time to build up a market.
It does. And like the Saturday markets, maybe the first one was pretty spectacular, but I bet attendance is kind of up and down, just depending on how good the weather is.
Truth, we've had some gnarly weather. Let's be honest about that, huh? I wouldn't have gone, you know?
Yeah. Right? That's the kind of. That's the thing. There we go. Oh my God, guys, I can't tell you how helpful this is. I'm still gonna have to work really hard to get this to come together, but I think having this session helped it. I had to get loose before I could get, you know,
Yeah, I do know.
it's like,
That's the whole point of some of this, you know, is like really loosening up and
right?
yeah. Making some weird stuff. I'm clearly drawing French fries all of a sudden and I didn't know it.
See, you're just hungry.
I am hungry. It is my dinner time, but French fries are definitely not in my repertoire right now.
Nice for sure.
It is fun to draw this large though, I'll tell you that.
By the way, ever since I cut that, at your guys' advice, cut that fan brush down, it's now my favorite brush. It's fantastic. Once we cut it and
Just got a new brush system figured out, huh?
really, I cannot believe how great it is. I use it all the time. Fantastic for natural things. Fantastic for like,
You just need to go outside the box.
yep. Shit. Okay.
Trying to use some other marks that are like, you know, whole arm kind of thing. You know, just thinking about that all. So I'm gonna get out some colored pencils, I think. Yeah.
Inkling is sitting on my drawing, just so you know.
He's marking your drawing, thank you.
He certainly
Involved
is.
in your mark making process.
And he's like, and if you really want this back, you're gonna have to tear it out from under my butt.
Oh yeah. This is much better paper. Much more enjoyable.
It really does look, it's amazing. I'm gonna send it where it is now, just so you guys can see. I know it's not abstract, but it's abstracted. Kind of the direction. I'm pleased.
I'm enjoying this tree.
I like your tree. I think she's really cute. I don't know why she's a she.
I was like, I'm interested in the gender of the tree suddenly. Oh, I like the
Yeah.
tree. That looks completely different. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting how how I'm starting to build up? There's a lot of detail in how these branches in the background with the moss hanging off kind of drift off, and I'm handling it completely different than I did the last time, which I think is probably a good thing.
More successfully, you're saying?
Yeah, I think it'll be, I just think I'll struggle with it less.
My giant French fry. I think.
Yeah. Or maybe it'll totally fail. I don't know. One or the other.
Yep. That's some failures. Can't do perfect paintings all the time.
Don't wanna.
Right back.
Oh, Jean, that's so nice. I like it.
Getting weird here.
I like it. It's kind of magical.
Snacks was staring at me, so I decided to draw her into my big drawing.
Smart.
You know? I like to draw Snacks a lot.
Max is pretty cute. We're coming towards the end of class, ladies.
Oh yeah, yeah.
5 minutes left. I know it's been fun.
What?
I know. Crazy, right?
Well, we will see you all next week. Same channel. Hi.
Tell me if I've ruined this before we go.
Yeah. Have you ruined it? Can you ruin a doodle? And I'm going to send the cutest little drawing of snacks in the whole world.
Aw.
Let's see.
There we are.
So I'm coloring it in, but just
Coffee
abstract.
cup. Oh, Jean, that's really beautiful. I like it.
Oh, snacks.
I know, snacks in a coffee cup.
You know, I didn't mean for it to be a coffee cup, but now it is kind of a coffee cup.
Yeah, it looks like snacks is in a coffee cup.
I'm gonna have to define some of these lines though, because you know, Snacks looks so dang cute. I'm gonna have to cut her out.
Seriously.
She's such a dang cute dog. Yeah.
Adorable. Is she really that cute?
Yes.
He's
She-
really that cute.
My girlfriend always says that she's like the dog little kids draw.
Yeah.
And she really
Yeah.
does.
She's like the RCA puppy with the
Yeah.
one dark
Oh.
spot and the one light spot.
Yeah, she's a dang cutie. She does kind of look like she's in a coffee cup. So I gave the coffee cup a handle. A cup of pup, I guess, huh?
Cup of pup.
I don't think you ruined your drawing, Jean.
Okay.
Okay. Well, it's been lovely, my friends.
It
We will
has.
see you next week and continue to torture ourselves with art.
And Krista, I'll see you tomorrow. Hold on.